Battlefield Hazard Zone is a game mode coming in Battlefield 2042 that has only really been announced, with very little said on it thus far. However, there have been teasers for it that many may not realise was in fact Hazard Zone, even in the recent short film Exodus. I feel large parts of it were based on Hazard Zone. There's also been a huge data mine of the Battlefield 2042 playtest files that have found many features it will likely include, which I'm not going to talk about as many other have already covered this. What I want to instead focus on is the premise of what Hazard Zone will be and how we know this and what other games it may be similar to. We will see a lot of other creators and people talking about it being similar to Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown, but I think it has very close similarities to another game, The Division, particularly the Dark Zone within The Division. There are timestamps below in the video information and chapters in the timeline should you wish to skip to that part. So, Hazard Zone. What is it about? DICE themselves describe it as an all-new, high-stakes, squad-based game type that is a modern take on the multiplayer experience. Hazard Zone is distinctly Battlefield, but very different from the modes of the all-out warfare. Along with this description, we got this screenshot. We know the world of Battlefield 2042 is set at a time when global warming has caused extreme weather events, and there was a major event that occurred in space resulting in most satellites orbiting the planet being destroyed. In the image you can see what looks to be a satellite falling to Earth from space. From this, myself and others theorised that it could be squads fighting each other over these fallen satellites for the intel they may provide. As it is a high stakes game mode, you may have only one life, and if you die you lose all your current loot or even the weapons you brought in with you. A selection of footage within the recent short film Exodus seems to back up this theory. Check this out.
But this is too big to ignore. America's got an experimental weapon that's about to fall out of the sky at these coordinates in 36 hours. They're desperate to recover their dirty little secret. If Russia gets it first, it could spark a war.
Fuck. We can't let that maniac get his hands on the coordinates.
So what do you make of that, folks? Let's go back to the original image. What if this shooting across the sky just isn't a regular satellite? This here could be that experimental weapon. What if it was this experimental weapon that caused all this damage in space? And imagine the damage it would do upon landing, you know? It would create a hazard. The Hazard Zone. This screenshot we now know to be aboard the Exodus ship, and we have two pieces of evidence to prove that. In the concept art we are showing during the Journey of the Nopat story, it shows us further inside the Exodus. Here we see what appears to be medical and/or containment units with people in hazmat suits. It certainly fits the whole idea of Hazard Zone. Additionally, we can see the little bird chopper out on deck like it is in this image. We then see this scene for real in the Exodus short film when Irish is looking at security cam footage on board the Exodus. It all lines up and looks likely that the Exodus ship will be the base of operations from where we enter the Hazard Zone via the little bird. When DICE describes Hazard Zone as a high stakes game, this has led people to speculate that it could be similar to Escape from Tarkov and Hunt Showdown. The high stakes description indicates that you and your squad have a lot to lose if you fail. In Escape from Tarkov, you can potentially lose all your weapons you take in with you if you die. In Hunt Showdown, you can lose your whole character. Both of these games have hard to kill AI bosses that are very risky to take on, and people speculate that this will be in Hazard Zone also. However, I feel there is another game mode and game that resembles this too, and that is The Division, particularly the Dark Zone within The Division. It is a high risk area where the loot you obtain must be extracted by calling in a chopper. In doing so alerts other players that an extraction has taken place and they can come and kill you and steal your loot. If you die, you lose all that loot and respawn back at the Dark Zone gate. In addition to have boss locations and objectives that contain good loot, there was also live events that would occur with aerial drops, where high level loot was protected by bosses that players could fight over. In Hazard Zone we could potentially have something like this, with live satellites or falling debris falling to the ground. Additionally, you and your team may have made it to the satellite, gathered up all the intel first, but then someone kills you and steals it on you during an extraction. Now, if that doesn't ring any bells, this next part will. In The Division, there was a mode called Survival, where you had one life. and you had to obtain a cure from within the dark zone. You know, it was an objective, kind of like crashed satellite, crashed experimental weapon that we may be getting in Hazard Zone. It was your ultimate objective. Not only were you against other players, but AI also. But there was another hazard, the weather. The temperature would continually drop and you would get colder and colder. You had to get better gear to survive or get to a warmer area, which could have been a safe house or a fire pit. You had options to take out bosses or other NPCs to level up and gain currency to spend on better weapons and gear before inevitably having to enter more difficult areas to where the cure was located. With Hazard Zone being called just that, I'm wondering if not only will we have other players and AI to worry about, but with Battlefield being Battlefield, it may also include a hazard. You know, this is an experimental weapon that fell down from space. Imagine the untold damage it could cause within this area. Like with survival mode in the Division, we could have to continue contend and monitor something that could drain our health, you know, that could cause our death. There are a number of ways DICE could implement these hazards onto a Hazard Zone map. To illustrate, here's a concept map layout I've come up with. The whole map could potentially just get more hazardous, you know, the debris that's continually falling down, something like that. Or they could do it a little bit like a Battle Royale, but not in the traditional Battle Royale sense. Instead of a circle pushing you closer and closer together, the hazardous conditions around the crash site get worse and worse the closer you get to it. And this is where those additional objectives and live drops could come in handy. From these you get better gear and perks to better survive the harsher conditions closer to the crashed satellite. Before finishing, I have a few questions to put to you. Do you think Hazard Zone will be like a Battle Royale game in that one team eventually wins by getting the intel from the crash site and extracting it? Or it'll be more of a situation where there are multiple crash satellites and multiple extractions can occur and those with the most extractions wins? Or will it be more of something from Rainbow Six Siege where you have attack and defend? You know, one team attacks the objective, the other team successfully defends it. They could either go with something that's very, very open or something that's very, very closed. We don't know what it's going to be just yet. Also, do you think there will be game vendors to buy better weapons, gear and equipment, potentially on the Exodus ship, before flying out to the Hazard Zone? You know, that area could be a bit of a lobby for players to matchmake and buy gear before heading out. I feel that Hazard Zone will be a completely different environment from the base game that will likely have different perks and gear specifically for it. For example, a self-revive, perks to protect your stash, etc. So that's it for my first of many Hazard Zone videos. In addition to my SMK gaming accounts, I am building up my Battlefield Hazard Zone accounts. Currently I have my Twitter up and running and it's going great. Head over there and give it a follow. The Twitter link is in the video description below. I will have a very unique way in which I will be presenting news over there when the game and game mode comes. It will blow your mind, folks. Teasers for that coming soon. Any videos on YouTube that I do will have a different overlay on the thumbnail, different colours also, so you know it is Hazard Zone. Thanks for watching, folks. Hit that subscribe button and also the like button before you go. Stay safe out there and I'll catch you again in the next one.